Welcome back, everyone. It is time to delve into the Killswitch Engage discography once more to review their fourth studio album, As Daylight Dies. So, this one is one that I have been eagerly anticipating on reviewing for quite some time now, and it is arguably their most commercially successful album up until this point. It combines the aggressive and more intense nature of Alive or Just Breathing, more so with the melodic and commercialized polish approach that they took while recording The End of Heartache. So it's kind of the best of both worlds here at this point. So those were obviously their two most majorly successful albums, bar their self-titled album, which basically kind of set the foundation for what they were building up to on this very release. So this is basically where everything just came to fruition, everything just exploded into a magnitude of riffs, heavy metal, and screaming. So Howard Jones just practically gives it his all here. He sounds best on this album. This is definitely my favorite album with Howard Jones in it, as well as pretty much basically where the lineup of Killswitch Engage just basically cemented itself. This was the second album with the End of Heartache lineup, so it basically just cemented itself as being the stable lineup of Killswitch Engage, because before this they had had many just ins and outs with different band members and the like, but this was the first one where they actually had a stable lineup. So a lot of the songs on here are really just uplifting and positive lyrics and about determination and just like never giving up hope, just stuff like that. It's really uplifting. So, like There Is Love, Burning to Find You, Will You Wait for Me, and it's just like really uplifting and just positive messages basically. So a lot of these lyrics on here, as usual, are just Killswitch Engage seal of approval quality. So they're all just perfect. Actually, perfectly great, I was going to say, but that doesn't really sound that good. So, anyways, Daylight Dies. This is the title track, which is really weird because they actually put the as in here. So, again, this was my first exposure to Killswitch Engage back when I was like in high school, I believe, freshman in high school. First songs I heard were Holy Diver and the edit of My Curse with less screaming. So wasn't too into screaming back then though. So I mean, I was all for it. I thought it was a good song. So I loved the vocals, especially with Howard Jones on Holy Diver. I was just blown away by how heavy it was. So, getting into it track by track, Daylight Dies. The first track on here gives you a taste for what is to come on this album. It's just this really slow and just really well-crafted guitar riff, and you got some distorted vocals in the beginning where Howard Jones is talking to you, and basically just setting up and setting just the dark and dreary mood until you get to the point where he screams, "This place is evil." And it's basically like just an awesome, slow, more doomy kind of song. So it sounds really good, and there's a really good use of twin guitars, especially in the verse structure. So I really like that about this song. What I really don't get, though, is why didn't they just call the album Daylight Dies? I always call it Daylight Dies, so I always have to remember to add the as for some reason. So this is Absolution. This is the second song on here, and it is just a fast-paced, chugging riff, just really intense screams by Howard Jones, and it's just an all-out rocker, basically. I really like this song. It's definitely one of my favorites on the album, as well as the next song, The Arms of Sorrow, which is a very atmospheric, yet really heavy and powerful song. And like I said, it has really uplifting lyrics, not necessarily too positive, but it's just really powerful lyrics, as usual for Killswitch Engage. I think this one is one of their more strong songs on the album, as opposed to, say, some of the latter material. But the album definitely starts out strong. Really, actually, the only song I don't like on this album is Desperate Times, but we'll get there. We'll get there. The next song, Unbroken. This one has a really kind of the Hell in Me kind of structure in the beginning. I know Hell in Me came later, but they both scream go in the beginning, and then it's just this frantic, chugging riff, and it sounds, really reminiscent of This Is Absolution, pretty much combined with what hasn't been released yet, the Hell in Me. So it's a really good song. I really do enjoy this, as well as the screams. The screams are just top-notch on this song. So the next one, of course, is My Curse, and it begins with a very melodic sort of riff, and this song is just probably one of the more melodic songs on the album. This and The Arms of Sorrow are probably the most melodic you're going to get, but it's still very aggressive in nature, especially with the screaming. Dying inside these walls, that part is just amazing with the screams. It's mind-blowing, just the tone of it. So one of my favorite songs overall by Killswitch Engage, and one of my favorite metalcore songs, period, and not to mention on this album as a whole. So this one definitely is a strong point for this album. So the next one, of course, is For You. I really like the structure of this, as well as the cleans. The cleans are really good. The screams are a little bit too low for my taste, but I do really enjoy this song, as well as the structure of it. It's a little bit more like bouncy and more sporadic in nature, but hey, what are you gonna do? The next one is Still Beats Your Name. This one's a pretty good one. Not really one of the standout tracks, but, you know, then again, coming off of My Curse, This Is Absolution, The Arms of Sorrow, and Daylight Dies, I mean, that's kind of big shoes to fill. Very big shoes to fill. These are some of their best songs here. I kid you not. But then you get to Eye of the Storm, and quickly the album gets back on track with another thrasher, another hard, just balls-out heavy metal song with lots of amazing screams by Howard and really good choruses, and I really like the uplifting lyrics again, so especially the chorus. I think the chorus is actually my favorite part, with Howard's baritone vocals that just take charge over the entire song, so that's probably definitely a high point for that. The next one is Break the Silence. This one is really fast, especially in the beginning. It has a really frantic beginning, and then it just has a really good structure overall. Really good guitar tone, can really dig the drumming as well, and you can definitely, overall in this entire album, hear the bass over a lot of other things. It's really good, really well produced, but then again, what do you expect from Adam D? He produces pretty much everything from them. So yeah. Next one, of course, is Desperate Times, which, in my opinion, yeah, it's kind of one of those weaker songs. I mean, I'm not going to fault Killswitch Engage for putting this on the record, but it really was not one of my favorite songs. It's just, it drears on, it's really monotonous, and I really just didn't get where they were going. It just kind of goes on in a really, really slow direction. I like the scream in the beginning, actually, so I'll add that to the docket list. I actually do like the scream in the beginning, but aside from that, it's just, you can't really hear anything that's going on in the background. It's just, it sounds a little bit like dare I say, but noise? I don't know. I don't want to, you know, upset anyone who does like this song, but it's more of that kind of dreary kind of atmosphere. I guess it's one of those more of those atmospheric kind of songs that just kind of sets up for more of a depressing kind of mood. So this kind of contradicts with everything that's been set up on, or built up on this album, with the more positive kind of messages in the lyrics, the connotations. So, but then again, Reject Yourself, I really like the guitar riffs in this. It's just kind of all over the place and really frantic. It's a really fast-paced one, and Adam Dutkiewicz actually sings some lyrics on here, especially in the chorus. He sings some backing vocals, and they just sound superb. It just sounds perfect with Howard's vocals. So, not exactly sure how it sounds with Jesse's in the studio yet, but we'll get there when we get there, I guess. Maybe he did actually sing some backing vocals, but Adam V's backing vocals are really prevalent on this release. I think they're the most obvious or notable on this release versus any of the other Killswitch Engage albums from the past, and of course KSE09, which I'll unfortunately be getting to probably in a few days. But yeah, really good song, really great album, and now we get into the bonus tracks, of course. B1, this is a really good one, not really a standout track. I can kind of see why they didn't include it on the album. It kind of doesn't fit the continuity that all the other songs kind of built up to. Reject Yourself was kind of a good finale. It was kind of a good place to just leave off and cap off the album at that. So, yeah, Let the Bridges Burn, it's kind of the same one, kind of the same scenario where it's just, it doesn't really fit on the album. It would fit more so on a Greatest Hits CD or maybe a compilation such as Hidden Treasures by Megadeth. So, the next one is This Fire, or if you're a WWE fan, This Fire Burns. So this song was actually contributed to, I believe, something having to do with WWE or wrestling, World Wrestling something, and I'm not too big into wrestling, but they did use this for one of the theme songs. So I might have heard this actually on Music Choice, possibly. I heard Holy Diver on Music Choice too, which I'll get into next. But this one is a very frantic, very atmospheric, very just moody kind of song, and it's just really fast-paced. It's got the frantic beginning and the really fast-paced guitar riffs, really excellent structure, excellent vocals by Howard Jones, as well as some screams thrown in there for good measure. So it's one of my favorite songs just overall on this album. They actually should have included it, in my opinion. So And the next one, of course, is another one they should have included, and that is Holy Diver by, well, Killswitch Engage, their version of it. And at the time when I first heard Holy Diver, I heard a Wave Group cover off of Guitar Hero Rocks the 80s, and I thought it was the original because, you know, I was young and dumb back then. And I thought, oh my god, this sucks. I don't like Dio. Just, no, Holy Diver! Like that. It sounded horrible, the Wave Group cover, to be honest. And since, you know, I thought that it was the original, then I heard Killswitch Engage's version. I was like, holy shit, this is heavy, and it screams, and it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I was blown away by it, to say the least. Excellent screams, just amazing vocals. I can't even believe that Howard Jones is able to match the technique that Dio instills in his version of Holy Diver. I mean, but just max it out practically and make it their own. This is one of my favorite covers of all time, next to You Really Got Me by Van Halen and Losing My Religion by Lacuna Coil. Those two are just some of my favorites, and this one's probably either second or third, so overall, awesome song, awesome album, and I can't recommend it enough. I mean, for anyone who likes metalcore. So overall, it's not as good as the two albums down the road in Disarm the Descent. It does not include guitar solos, which is kind of a letdown at this point, especially considering with the end of Heartache, they had some little bits and pieces of guitar melodies thrown in there, but this one, guitar solos are just absent. But then again, you know what, maybe it's like Saint Anger, where it would sound completely and utterly shit if it had guitar solos in it, or at least that's what Kurt said, or James Hetfield and Lars, but you never know. I mean, the songs are perfect the way they are, and I think if you would have added in guitar solos to the pre-existing songs, it would just sound overly manufactured and constructed, so they're perfect the way they are. Overall, now that I think about it, I do enjoy this record a little bit more than Alive and Just Breathing, so I'm going to give it a 9.7 out of 10. It's an awesome album. You should definitely check it out, as I have said before. So any fan of Killswitch Engage should really enjoy this album. So tune in next time for my review of KSEO9, which is their self-titled album from 2009. And yeah, the downfall, or so it seems, of Howard's health and the band as a whole. So it took him 3 years to do it. And he was in a coma for 3 days, which is really just heartbreaking to hear. So I'll talk more on that in probably a few days or so. Probably get a video or two in between that. So, hey, this is Midnight Strike 3625. I know I forgot to say it in the beginning, but I'm saying it now. This is Midnight Strike 3625. Keep calm and rock on.